this ain't parents out to lunch. No, this is parenting with the punch. Oh, this ain't parents out to lunch. No, this is parenting with the punch. Class is in session, please be seated. Behaviors that get attention get repeated. Avoid the power struggle cause it will get you heated. Listen to Amanda cause she knows how to teach it. Yo, this ain't parents out to lunch. No, this is parenting with the punch. Oh, this ain't parents out to lunch. No, this is parenting with the punch. Yeah, yeah,
Hello and welcome to Parenting with a Punch show. I'm your host, Amanda Houle, founder of Parenting with a Punch. This is my website, parentingwithapunch.com, to learn all the ways that you can work with me. I'm here today live from Denver, Colorado, and I have a special guest here, Liz Libby, the co-founder of Rising Tide Women. She is a certified lactation specialist, certified doula, and I am so happy to have her here. So let's give her a warm welcome and have her join us. Hello.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Thanks for having me today. This
Absolutely.
is great.
Thank you for coming on and being flexible with my travel schedule.
That's that entrepreneur life we were talking about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's just how it works. And you got to roll with the punches sometimes and get it done, right?
It's a lot like parenting, you know, it's
absolutely. So please, so you're located, in like the greater Boston area. So you're a local business. So I'd love to tell our viewers, where you're located and of course tell us all about Rising Tide Women.
Yeah, absolutely. So we serve Boston. We also serve the South Shore and Cape Cod as well. I actually live on the Cape and my partner is in Kingston, but we do serve a lot of Boston clients as well. So we serve families from pregnancy all the way through birth, postpartum, breastfeeding. We do doula support. We do birth education. We actually just launched an online, it's sort of a coaching program, but not really. This online program that is for pregnant folks, and our first batch is launching for people who are due in September. And it kind of includes your birth education and ongoing support from the two of us. So I work with a fellow doula, and it's going to be amazing. So we're excited. Basically, our whole thing is sisterhood. We want to really meet folks where they're at and kind of get rid of this judgmental space in parenting.
Yes.
And our goal is we want to give you information and then trust you to make the right decision for you because you're a grown person.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And we were just talking about this briefly about the fact of it takes a village, and I can't 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and of course even further, it takes a village to raise a child, and it just feels like you were saying that parenthood can seem so much more isolating, and trying to create that environment for parents to be able to thrive and not feel guilty for reaching out for that support, because when you do reach out for that support, it's so vital.
It is. Yeah. And I mean, I actually grew up here on the Cape, but I grew up as part of a big family. We had cousins and aunts and uncles. And, then when I had my kids, we lived away, and I was in this house alone with these two newborn babies. My first two are twins. And it was a real wake up call for me. That's actually kind of what got me into this work, is because I was like, wow, I want to help other people have a better experience than what I had.
Absolutely. It's so important. Good for you. And it's, I like to, all the guests on my show, talking about parenting and empowerment. And, I really believe that, even just, you can never talk too much about parents and self-care and, you just never know when somebody could be tuning into, you know, this specific show and just like really feel empowered in that moment. And like, just, it could be like 2 words that just resonates with that parent. And that, you know, that's what I want to create and build. And I know you do, of course. So I'd love to hear like some of the self-care that you were talking about and how you kind of like got into co-founding Rising Tide Women.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually used to be really terrible at self-care. My husband started medical school when our twins were 10 months old, and I was really isolated. We moved a lot for his training. Mm-hmm. And when we moved here to the Cape, this is hopefully our last move. That was the plan. I always say like our next move is the cemetery. I'm not going anywhere because I'm over it. But I feel like I've learned a lot. And really these past 5 years, especially about how important it is to take care of yourself. And it's something I never did because it felt like just one more person to take care of. You know, It felt like just another thing on the to-do list that I was failing at. Mm-hmm. And that's like not a good feeling, you know? So I like, it just sucks to be failing at like one more thing. But but I really am starting to just put myself at the top of that list. We always say like, you got to put your own oxygen mask on first before you can help somebody else, you know? Mm-hmm. It's really important. I think a lot of what we do is encourage our clients to do some emotional self-care. I feel like there's a lot out there about like physical self-care and trying to get enough sleep. And we support with that as well. We do overnights so that we can help our parents get more sleep. But a lot of what we do ends up being kind of emotional support. And so much of what we talk about is like, just feel your feelings. Like however you feel is okay.
Right.
You know? Because I feel like, and as parents so often, and I'm sure you see this in your work too, so often we feel a certain way, like we feel frustrated or we feel burned out. And then on top of that, we feel guilty about how we're feeling, or we feel like we shouldn't feel that way, you know? And that I think is actually sometimes more damaging because
I know it's true. I especially, you know, in co-parenting, whether or not you're still together or, you know, that being able to like own how you feel and be able to communicate that with your partner, I think a lot of parents and especially mothers, of course, struggle with that. And it's, you know, I get it and I understand it, but at the same time, I feel like when you're able to have that open communication, like you said, like really talk about your feelings and like how you're like, there's so much mom guilt. There's so much mom guilt.
Oh my God. And that's a lot, you know, like in breastfeeding, when parents are having a rough time with breastfeeding, there's so much, you know, in addition to like the logistical difficulties, there's so much guilt and shame and parents feel like they're failing. And, you know, a big part of what I do is just come in and say like, you are enough for your baby. You are enough for your kids, however this goes, whether you keep breastfeeding or not. You know, that you are still the parent that your kids need and you're doing okay. You know, like breastfeeding is awesome, but it's not the measure of a good parent, you know, like,
right. And I'm sure you probably see that often, correct? With family, like moms struggling with probably all of the pieces that go into breastfeeding, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, they call me because they're having trouble. So yeah, I see it, you know, and often I'm able to support those moms and they go on to have great breastfeeding relationships. And sometimes they choose not to, or sometimes they just can't. And like, I really never want a mom to walk away feeling like I failed. I want them to walk away feeling like I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into that. I worked hard. I kicked ass. I'm sorry. Can I say that?
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely.
I said I wasn't going to do that.
You're totally fine.
You know, but like, I want them to feel like I did the best I could do. And that's enough for my kid, you know?
Yep.
And I think that like so often we're trying to like frame our clients' emotions for them, but we need to help them to do it for themselves, you know?
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. Like teaching them, you know, how to do it, modeling it for them, like giving them specific tools, you know, and I think just having that accountability, like having that support system, somebody that they can call, somebody that they know is going to be there, like in those moments of distress.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they're not getting it, or they don't, you know, and not purposefully that they're not getting it from their partner, but it's just a different dynamic, I think, right? It's a different support.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think culturally we're not, you know, our culture doesn't really equip parents, you know, co-parents or the partners to be there in a, you know, in the best possible way. Like we're not showing them how to do that, you know, especially if they're male. They're really, you know, culturally, we expect them to like not do the feelings thing, you know, and like that's not helpful for anybody.
No, it is not healthy for anybody. I mean, I just seeing it, you know, being amongst friends and, you know, I'm not a mommy yet, but, you know, being around my niece and seeing, you know, it's just, the dynamics are, I mean, it's so important to have that healthy, happy, like open communication between the two parents.
Yeah. And that's a big part of what we talk about with our clients is like, the more that you are doing that emotional self-care and you're just giving yourself a little space to feel however you feel and to like work through that in whatever way is healthy for you, whether it's like therapy or exercise or, you know, like sitting down with a bowl of ice cream, whatever is going to help you get through today, you know?
It's true.
Yeah. And just that like taking care of yourself in that way helps you be a better parent, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I know you, I feel like you tell people there.
And so I'd love to hear too, like what would you say your number one self-care tip would be for parents? Or, I mean, it could even be like layered, but.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing, because we work with brand new parents, is sleep. Like prioritize sleep. So often I see folks and they're like up doing the dishes or they're, you know, like they're trying to get their environment organized, which is great. Right. I'm someone, when my environment is disorganized, I feel disorganized. But like when you are really severely sleep deprived, you process information differently and everything becomes more difficult. So you can get in a 20-minute power nap during the day. I'm not going to say sleep when baby sleeps. It's the most irritating advice. But even if you can get in one nap per day, it's going to make those nighttime wake-ups more bearable, you know, and it's going to give you a little more resources to manage your own energy and your stuff. You know, so sleep is big. Even if you can get like whatever little extra bit you can get is amazing.
Very cool. So I'm curious too, what's your thought process on the whole, like sleeping when the baby sleeps? Is it just because like, is it more of like the co-sleeping or?
No, I think it's, you know, it's hard because first of all, you can only do it with the first kid. Right? Because if you have more than one kid, chances are they're not napping at the same time. But also, but you know, like even then it's like every time the baby sleeps, you might only have 15 or 20 minutes because sometimes they're just cat napping. And in that time, you know, like a nap is great, but you're not going to be able to lay down every time because you might want to do things like shower or eat food or like just exist for 10 minutes with no one touching you, you know, like those are all important too. So, you know, and I think that we have to also honor that, like, it's hard to feel relaxed in a space that's messy for some of us. Some of us are totally cool with it. No judgment. I support that.
Yeah.
You know, but like for some people that's difficult. So, you know, they want to like clean up a little bit when they can, or, you know, like there's just other stuff to be done. So you can't always lay down every time the baby sleeps. So,
no, that makes sense.
Yeah. So even though, I mean, like, it would be great if you could, like, that's the ideal, but it's just not possible for most people. And it's one of those, like, people say it so often and moms get really frustrated with it because they're like, yeah, great. I would if I could, you know?
Seriously.
Like, well, I think come over and hang with the baby so I can do it.
Well, I wonder too, it's probably, I mean, I feel like in trying to sleep when the baby's sleeping, like, part of you, like, subconsciously you're wanting to, like, be up or awake, like, if the baby wakes up. So it's probably hard to really be able to, like, fully fall asleep unless you're co-sleeping, obviously. But I mean, that's a whole other,
that's a whole other can of worms, but
yeah, exactly.
And there's a lot of, like, you know, baby will go down and then the mom feels like, oh my gosh, like, how long do I have? Am I going to be able to get enough sleep? There's, like, a lot of anxiety wrapped up in that, you know? So
I agree.
Yeah. So, and that's why I always say, like, let's like remove some of the pressure, you know, like, you don't have to nap perfectly. We don't want that to be, like, one more thing you're failing at, you know, like,
I know.
Now, great. Now I'm a bad napper, you know, but like, even if you could just lay down and close your eyes, just get some rest. I think that sleep is a huge part of, you know, there's some good research linking that, you know, extreme sleep deprivation with postpartum mood disorders. You know, and it's just, we know it's not good for us. So, you know, do what you can within that. Cause, you know, like, we generally don't recommend sleep training before a year, you know, and again, no judgment if parents have done that, like,
right. Yeah.
Like, I recognize that things get really hairy, like,
yeah.
But, you know, again, that's the, like, ideal, but, like,
right.
You know, so because babies, especially newborns, they need those nighttime calories. So, like, how do we then cope with that so that the parents can function as a unit if they're together and as individual humans, you know?
Right. Yep.
So there is, you know, that physical and emotional self-care really work together, but,
right.
You know, but I think in terms of emotional self-care, that's my big recommendation, is just feel your feelings. It's okay.
No, I agree. I think we need to come back more to the emotions and the feelings piece, because I think that's so vital and especially for, like, the new parents. I mean, all parents of any ages really, but especially when you're a new parent.
Yeah. And I think we have this idea that, like, you're supposed to enjoy every minute, and which is, like, first of all, if we even take, like, 10 seconds to examine that expectation is completely bananas. Like, do you enjoy every second of literally anything? No, nobody does, because that's crazy.
Yeah, but it's true. And it goes right back to, like, the pressure and the judgment and, like, the mom guilt. And like, we just put so much on moms, and they're just, like, expected to be, you know, the absolute best. And they are, I mean, they're the parent, right? But it's funny because, like, for me, I have immense amount of patience for children, but when it comes to adults, I have none, right? But it doesn't come all that natural for all, you know, parents, and that's okay. That there's no, like, magic, you know. I mean, it's a conscious decision to have children.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, I think that's the thing, is, like, we feel like, as moms, I know, you know, for myself, for many years, I had this expectation, like, I was supposed to be this, like, eternally smiling, eternally patient. I was supposed to put myself last and put everyone else first, and, like, sacrifice everything. And, like, that's pretty messed up, you know, like, that's not how we are supposed to exist as humans. We need to be humans. We need to, like, get angry sometimes, and we need to be frustrated sometimes. And you're not going to enjoy every minute, because there are some minutes that just suck, and that's normal.
Yes, it is totally normal. Absolutely. So the biggest takeaway for all of our viewers listening today is things suck, And not every single moment is going to be the freaking best. And that's okay, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to like smash that expectation that like, you know, it's that image that we get sold when we're pregnant that like you're going to be like sitting on a white couch and
glowing and
with your hair done and makeup and like peacefully nursing your baby who never cries. And like, that's just not how parenting looks, you know?
No, not at all. You know, regardless of where any parent is at in their journey, and some kids are less, you know, crying or not. I don't know. You're going to experience some sort of shitty moments. And you're going to have moments where it's amazing and you are going to feel like knocked off your feet by how fiercely protective you are of this tiny person. And you're going to, you know, like there are moments that are amazing, but there are also moments that like are not that fun. And I just think that we need to be honest with people about that like it's not all puppies and sunshine. And like, that's okay. You know, like that's how life is. It's supposed to go up and down because if you didn't have the downs, you wouldn't appreciate the ups. Right. No, it's true. And again, right back to the self-care piece, like in those moments of frustration, yes, you can let it out and you can get frustrated and you can be upset and you can be angry, but knowing like how you can take care of yourself, like, so you don't end up like it flowing into the rest of your day. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just, it makes such a difference when you're able to like be mindful of knowing where you're at, like let it out, express it, do what you have to do, and then figure out like, and not beat yourself up over it. Yeah.
And just knowing that like that feeling of being frustrated or however you might be feeling doesn't mean anything about what kind of a parent you are. Like you're not a bad mom because you get frustrated. You're not a bad mom because you're having a bad day. Like, I think that is because we tend to like internalize that and we feel like, oh, I'm the worst, you know? And that's really like, I just want to really encourage people to just be open about like, if you feel rough, it's okay. And know that that doesn't mean you're a bad parent. It just means you're human like the rest of us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, I'm going to share your website for anybody that is would love to check out Liz at risingtidewomen.com, and for our audio, www.risingtidewomen.com. Liz, thank you so much for being on the show today. It was such a pleasure speaking with you. And look forward to connecting further and hopefully collaborating some more.
Definitely. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too.
All right, bye. Well, that was Parenting with a Punch show today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please visit my website, parentingwithapunch.com, to learn more about my services. And I am currently have a I Fund Women's campaign, so please be sure to check that out. My services are at a much lower rate than what I typically charge in honor of women's empowerment. So get on over there and tune in for our next guest next week. And as always, keep asking for more. You deserve it. Your family deserves it. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Yo, this ain't parents out to lunch. No, this is parenting with the punch. Oh, this ain't parents out to lunch. No, this is parenting with the punch. Class is in session. Please be seated. Behaviors that get attention get repeated. Avoid the power struggle cause it will get you heated. Listen to Amanda cause she knows how to teach it. Yo, this ain't parents out to lunch. No, this is parenting with the punch. Oh, this ain't parents out to lunch. No, this is parenting with the punch. Yeah, yeah, oh, oh.